Hey, my name is Johannes Gårdbeck, and I will be the instructor in the online course of Trolldom and Nordic Spirituality. And I figured I should do a little introduction to the course and myself in order for you to understand what this is going to be about. I've been working for almost 26 years now as a cunning man, magician, and healer. I have had clients from all over the world, from all kinds of cultures, with all kinds of different requests. And I have done all kinds of spells, encountered many kind of different beings and strange things of the mind for a long time. About 6 or 7 years ago, I started to teach apprentices in this, and then I got requests to teach people who were on the opposite side of the world. And I figured, nah, that's not going to work. Because you can't feel them, they can't feel you, and there's many things that you can't do. It has to be taught in person. But after some years of teaching, using video links, turned out to work just fine. And after a couple of other years teaching these apprentices, I figured with a new technique it might be time to put this out to a broader audience. So that's what I'm doing basically now. So we're going to have online lessons in the subject. The whole course has 3 different parts to it. Why does it have 3 parts, and what's it about? Well, when we enter any spiritual teaching, anything about magic, and there is a lot out there, as I assume that you already know. After a while, first it's exciting, and you dive down into whatever you can acquire. But after a while it becomes confusing. It becomes, well, you become skeptical maybe, or afraid, or anything like that. And most of them lack some kind of foundation. What do I mean with foundation? Well, spirituality in itself is about you. It's about what comes out of you, what comes through you. So entering a kind of a course or teaching about spirituality and magic as an expression of spirituality, without considering you and what you've already experienced, what you already can do, it makes half of it lacking, right? Because you think you learn this like we learn any subject. We go to the university, we sit in our little bench, and we're little blank pages upon which the instructor or the teacher writes the teaching, and we just follow along and do exactly what they told us, and in that way we acquire knowledge that then can be applied. Well, if you are a grown-up and not a newborn baby, you already have experiences in thinking, in using your body, in dreaming, in many other things. That's absolutely natural to us. And if we try to shove down some spiritual teaching through that system, it sooner or later gets clogged and it gets confused and so on. So we need to take that into consideration. What is this really about? What kind of powers are used in magic? What is a spirit? Are we absolutely unaware of this? They don't exist until we kind of take a course in it? No, that's not the case. You all have experienced spirits. You all have experienced magic in various ways. So there needs to be some kind of foundation before we dive into the practices of this culture. Otherwise, it'll just mess us up even more, or makes us think that this is right and something else is wrong, and confuses it. So that's the first thing we're gonna do. We're gonna look at the foundations of magic, foundations of spirituality. How is that applied? And the red thread throughout will be practicality, usefulness. If it doesn't work, then we don't use it. If it doesn't work in our context, meaning if we have to sit down and strike a drum for half an hour each time we're going to use this method, then we have just a very small amount of opportunities to use it, at least when you have kids and a job and so on and so forth. So then it's not very useful. Well, are there other methods that do the same thing but can be useful, right? How do we learn them? Maybe you already know them. Maybe you already know how to do it. But you don't know where to look for it because there's so many assumptions. We have applied so many models to ourselves and the things in ourselves that we try to apply in this area too, and it doesn't work. And if we talk in terms of practicality, what we should do is to look at these models, replace them with something else, and see how that works in this context. For example, ideas about your mind. What's your mind? How does it work? Okay, so we learned something that's used for our benefit, for us to thrive in whatever kind of environment we are in. For example, right and wrong. We apply right and wrong as a guide within a certain context. But if we take the same right and wrong and try to do this, it doesn't work. It might even be harmful to apply that model here. So when it comes to the mind, if we don't deal with the assumption or the model that the mind might not be an isolated island, that what you hear and perceive inside might not originate only from you. If we use another model, maybe we can produce other results. Of course, this model of us being an isolated island and only us in the mind, and the mind kind of is somewhere inside the skin or whatever, it has its usefulness. Otherwise we would have discarded it long ago, but no, it's useful to us somehow. What does it produce, that kind of model? Things like that we will discuss. And then we jump into Scandinavian nature and the whole tradition of magic that's been going on here for a long time. Everything from the Trolldom methods to runes to how we approach different spirits and so on and so forth. Once we're deeply steeped into that, we take it into a modern context again, because maybe you are in a situation where you are not a farmer in Sweden. You don't have access to this and that that is required in this traditional technique. But perhaps you can apply it in another way. To your friends, to your family, to your co-workers, and maybe even to your clients that may come from a very different culture. How do you apply these things to suit their needs, to help them thrive? So that's the third part of this course. We're starting on Monday, February the 3rd. And you can sign up to this course and read more about it at nordicmagic.com. You'll see the address here. If you got any questions, feel free to contact me and ask. And I hope to see you there. All right, thank you.